Yo, what is up guys? It is Samool here, back with another Should You Pull video for you guys today. And today we're going to be talking about the banner that is coming out tomorrow, or actually today for some people, in about 19 or 20 hours of this video's recording. And that unit is going to be the Limited Ice Ranger Cerise. Now if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you guys know I've been talking about this unit and her artifact for a very long time. And that is for very good reason, because she is a very good unit and her artifact that she comes with is also very strong. So just to sum everything up in the beginning of the video, yes, you're going to want to pull for her and get her artifact. Now this is my Cerise and this is the build I'm running her on. Honestly, my Cerise is not that great and I'm mostly only using her for PvE, so I don't really change her gear out that much. But it's not to say that she's bad in PvP, and that's not why I'm using her. It's mostly because I don't have any leftover gear to put on her at the moment. Now if you guys want to know what her skills do, her S3 is an AoE attack that ignores element. Also gives her invincibility and will strip buffs by 1 turn and decrease speed and restrict. Very powerful opening spell. Her S2 is a single target stun with unbuffable and it pushes her CR by 50%. And you can soul burn this for ignoring effect resist, so you can stun like pesky soul weavers that are like made Chloe with high effect resist and so forth. S1 is a forced dual attack that also gives her CR push, very powerful. So you can see she does a lot with combat readiness and speed. She's a very good lapper in PvP, and in PvE she's also very good at debuffing and bringing in your DPS units to dual attack as well. So very powerful. In PvE you'll use her in like Expedition, in Abyss Force she's very good, and for PvP she's pretty much good everywhere. You'll see her in Arena Defense, Guild Wars Defense, you can use her in Offense, and in World Arena or RTA she's a very powerful pick. For stats, you're going to want to run her at about like 270 speed minimum is your goal. Now for early game players you can run her at like 240 and it's fine honestly. Make sure you have 65% effectiveness or 80% for PvE depending on where you bring her. And if it's for PvP you want to push for about like 120, 130 plus. And yeah, that's pretty much the stat guidelines. Everything else is a bonus. Making her bulky is nice as well. And crit chance is also nice if you're running her in a cleave with like Challenger Dominion and you want to crit on her S3 to push up your Challenger Dominion. For artifact, Miss Confile is the best. You can also run her on her own artifact for PvP, but Miss Confile is the most consistent for PvP and PvE. You can also run her on Song of Stars. You can run her on a lot of artifacts. Even Cursed Compass is pretty good on her as well if you're lacking the effectiveness. It's a 3-star artifact and really easy to get to plus 30. Now, Cerise, people say that Cerise is very hard to gear and that she's not as good in PvP anymore, which is true. In the past, she was a lot better in PvP, but that's not to say she's weak. You still see her a lot. She is one of the best Guild Wars defense units in the game. You'll see her in a lot of high level guilds, and especially in Guild Wars, right? In top 100 guilds, every single time I fight a big tower, I see like a Cerise most of the time. Not all the time, but there's a lot of Cerises I see. And also with Cerise, even though she is hard to gear, she is a limited unit. So she comes out once a year, and you definitely will get enough gear to gear her within a year. And you don't want to be like me and skip on her first banner and then she gets buffed and then you realize you don't have her and you have the gear to use her and she's very strong and you're just missing out on a year of abusing Cerise. Cerise is still a very powerful unit. She's best in slot for some PvE content like Expeditions, like I said. And in PvP she's still very strong. Now for Awakenings, right, you don't even have to 6-star her, but I do recommend it because you ideally want some bulk on her, because you'll see that she really relies on lapping the enemy team, which means she's going to take some damage eventually, even though she has invincibility. So you're really going to want to 6-star her. For Molas, I really recommend molaing her S3 to +4. All you really need is effect chance on her. You don't really use her for damage. You just want cooldown reduction and effect chance, and I guess the CR on her S1 is also very nice as well. She doesn't do damage by herself, but she will do damage by bringing her teammates with her S1 random dual attack. Very powerful. And yeah, limited unit. But keep in mind, guys, that there's another limited unit coming out soon. It is going to be Diene, because she is overdue actually by like a month and a half. And Diene is an Ice Soul Weaver. I'll release another video about Diene in the future, but long story short, Diene is a good unit as well. Very good in PvE and not that great in PvP anymore, but there are metas where she comes back and she's very strong. So keep in mind we have another limited coming out that we know of, and honestly Smilegate will probably release more in the future. Now let's talk about Cerise's artifacts. If I just scroll down to Landy here, she is equipping it. So we have Guiding Light. So a lot of people talk about Guiding Light as being super broken on Landy. It is true, very good on Landy, one of the best artifacts on Landy, if not the best, especially if you're running it on a speed set. If you're running her on a counter set, Guiding Light is not as good as like Bloodstone or Proof of Valor, but Guiding Light is definitely the best on the most common set that people run her on, which is the speed set. Now counter set's still really good, it might be even better, it's just way harder to gear, and in my opinion it's a little bit less consistent because you have to rely on that RNG to counter. Now Guiding Light is also good on other units. If you have like a Faithless Lytica, if you want to use it on Cerise herself, or if you want to use it on like a Briar Witch Assaria, it's very good because what do people draft to counter those Ranger openers like Cerise, Faithless Lytica? They'll draft like a Sid, Assassin Sid, or Assassin Coley, and with Guiding Light, you'll see you get a stealth at the beginning of the battle, so you can't get one shot, so you actually get your turn off. And Guiding Light helps with survivability, especially on Landy, because at the end of your turn, you have a chance to get stealth for 2 turns, and that can be activated every 2 turns. So if you get really lucky, you can have perma stealth if they don't have a way to break you out. And that makes you super tanky because 1, you can't get targeted by single target attacks, and stealth in this game gives you damage reduction against AoE attacks as well. So you'll see for Guiding Light's usage statistics here, 51% use it on Landy, like I said, 26% use it on Cerise, and then you see Faithless Lytica, Briar Witch, I forgot about Operator Cigarette's really good as well, and the other units are not really used as much. I guess Pavel can use it as well, but yeah, for the most part, you're going to see that units that I mentioned use it. Very, very powerful artifact, especially on openers and Landy, essentially that are Rangers. And in PvE, you can still use it on Landy. Obviously, ideally, you're going to want to switch it out for something else, for like Daydream Joker or Bloodstone or something like that. But in PvP, Guiding Light is definitely your best choice for Landy in PvP. And a lot of you guys probably pulled Landy in the fall, and you guys are wondering, what artifact do I put on her? I don't have Guiding Light because I'm new to the game, and Cerise's banner hasn't run, right? Well, here's your chance, guys. Buy that Guiding Light from that Powder of Knowledge shop. Very good. Even though if it's plus 15 only, and you don't have multiple copies, 52.5% chance is very, very good still. It's still more than half at plus 15. And also, it's mostly for the stealth at the beginning of the battle, to be honest, especially on your opening units. Even on Landy, it's still very good, so you don't get one tap, so you can get into your S3. And if you have a soul burn on your team with like a Tagahal's Ancient Book, you can soul burn her S3 and then S1 or S3 again, and you have 2 chances to proc that stealth. So very, very powerful. Obviously, if you max it out, I think it goes to, I don't even know what it goes to, because I don't have it maxed, but it's either 70 or 75, so very, very high percent chance. So yeah, obviously a lot of people that are whales are going to pull for multiple copies, but as a new player, don't feel like you have to max this. I have a plus 15 Landy and our Guiding Light on Landy, and it works very, very well. You can always wait for next year when you have more units and you have more resources to spare to pull for extra copies. But as a new player, I would be happy with 1 copy. Plus 15 Guiding Light is still very strong in its own right. So yeah, just to sum things up, guys, pull for Cerise for sure. Even though she's a little bit weaker than last year's release, she's still very strong for late game PvE. She's still very good in PvP, especially in Guild Wars. And even though her gear requirements are high, guys, keep in mind you have another year until you have to wait for her banner, and you're definitely going to get gear to gear her. For her artifact, Guiding Light, very powerful on Landy, guys. You're going to want to pull this for sure, especially if you want to use your Landy in PvP. And if you want to use your Ranger openers like Faithless Lytica, Operator Cigarette, still even good on Cerise in PvP, like I said. And yeah, you don't want to miss this artifact either, so make sure you buy this from the Powder of Knowledge shop. That's pretty much it for my Should You Pull Cerise and Guiding Light guide. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel out a lot, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.